So when we have that busy schedule, when whatever that is, take a moment, like really take a moment, step back, take an aerial view of everything you're creating and be with it with appreciation and gratitude.
Hey, my name is Veronica Cisneros, and I am a licensed marriage and family therapist, a mama of 3 girls, and married for 23 years. I am obsessed with helping you navigate through the seasons of marriage, helping couples like you break free from feeling like roommates. I will teach you the secrets to having a healthy marriage by providing tools and tips to help you reconnect in a way that you can't keep your hands off each other, where flirting and kissing is the norm in your household. Setting intentional time to date, get to know and support each other's dreams and goals so that you can grow together without keeping score or judging one another. Where you feel seen and heard even when you disagree. Where arguments end with mutual respect and understanding. Where you work together to build and strengthen your family so no one feels like they're carrying the weight of the family on their own. These are the necessary skills your children need for you to model so that they develop healthy relationships and thrive in life. This is the Empowered and Unapologetic Podcast. Hey ladies, welcome to the Empowered and Unapologetic Podcast. I am your host, Veronica Cisneros. Today's guest is a transformational mindset coach, author, mentor, and motivational speaker who has helped thousands of creatives around the world find harmony in the inevitability of change. Her expertise in smoothly navigating change draws from her own struggle with heavy metal poisoning, which dampened her vibrant life and sparked her studies of homeopathy. I always say that wrong. Homeopathy. Am I saying that right?
Homeopathy.
Homeopathy. Totally off. Body awareness and quantum physics. Combining these and other modalities, she has established the congruent life method as a guide to recognize limiting beliefs, build a powerful mindset, and confidently call in abundance. Her newest book, Breaking Free, Your Unique Path to Fearless Living, empowers her readers to create lives they genuinely love. So please help me by welcoming my guest, Susan Lazar Hart. Hey, Susan.
Hey, thank you so much, Veronica. I am so grateful I love abundance, like abundant life. That's where I live. So I'm so grateful for you inviting me on to speak with everybody today.
Absolutely.
Yay. Thank you.
So, obviously, we want to believe that everybody's always fabulous, but it sounds like you went through some really, really difficult challenges in your life to get you to inspire you and move you to where you are today. So, what challenges really shifted your mindset where you knew you had to do something different?
Well, thank you for that question. I actually believe that I'm no different from anybody else. There's so many of us out there that wake up in the middle of our lives asking, what?
Mm-hmm.
Is this all there is?
Mm-hmm.
What?
Mm-hmm.
And we live many lives within each life. And so I would say for myself, I can remember as a little being on a bike, wandering around saying, is this it? Going home, putting my bike down, then getting back on my bike, trying it again, going back, right?
Yeah.
And so as we move through life, we have many of those times when we ask, is this it? And for myself, a very pivotal moment occurred for me when I was painting my studio. I was a professional painter and printmaker in galleries and architectural magazines. And I had my whole life, my whole persona had been built on, leave me alone. I'm a creative. I'm an artist. You know, I'm a little wacky. I can do what I want. And so all of a sudden, I started losing my hair, my eyebrows, my eyelashes. I felt funky, and I checked and found out that I had created heavy metal poisoning.
Wow.
From all of those years of working in the studio, inhaling toxins. And, in those days, we didn't really have the information we have now. We didn't have the kind of air circulation we have now or non-toxic chemicals. And so there I was in my bed like, here I am again. What the
Yeah.
bleep?
Yeah.
If I'm not a painter, who am I?
Yeah.
And so I started, investigating different ways of being. Well, if I'm not a painter, who am I? Well, I'm told I'm a
Yeah.
mom. Yeah, I'm a daughter, a sister, a wife, a this, a that. Like our lives are composed of people telling us, "Oh, just work harder and you'll be a whatever that
Yeah.
is." And for most of us, I believe in your audience, we're professional women who achieve a certain amount of life, and then we turn around and say, "Is this
Yeah.
it? Is this all there
Yep.
is?" And so what I started to investigate was alternative ways of being, mind, body, and soul, which led me, as you so nicely and kindly stated, into all these different various ways of energetic body healing, of being prepared for the next new life we have in this life.
Yeah.
And so my my North Star, my guidance has always been to ask a question,
Mhm.
to be in the question. Well, if this isn't working for me, what else is
Yeah.
possible?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And so you ended up getting heavy metal disease. That is nuts. That is so nuts. And it sounds like it was debilitating. It sounds like there was a point where you were like, I need to take advantage. I need I need to take full control of my life. Was that easy or did you find challenges in making that transition?
I think the biggest challenge, and if I can open up that question a little bit, is that we haven't been taught to ask a question.
Yes.
We've been taught to buy this as true and real. I mean, really, honestly, I waited for the head person in the hospital to work with on getting rid of this heavy metal poisoning. And I realized our values just weren't the same. And I remember getting on my bike, going home thinking, okay, Susan, what did you just learn here? And what I learned was I still had a fiery temper.
Yeah.
I could walk out of a doctor's office, and that I needed a really good homeopath.
Yeah.
And so the very next day, with that in mind, I bumped into a friend of mine I hadn't seen in years. Years. Our kids were in preschool together. And hey, what's happening? What's happening? She goes, what are you up to? And I said, oh, I just created heavy metal poisoning. And I feel it's just like, I don't know where to go or what to do with this. And she said, that's really interesting. So did I. I'm like, really? Who are you going to? She goes, I have this amazing homeopath, but she's really busy. She probably won't take you, but here's her number. The very next day after that, I call her up. She goes, come right in.
Oh, wow.
And so, part of this is being in the question of truly what else is possible. My whole life is all about being in the question. What else is possible here? So I think the turning point was the awareness of, okay, acknowledge this is going on and ask what else is possible? Who else is out there for me to speak with that I can actually shift and change this? And I think that that's a huge challenge for most people because, again, we've been taught to live in the answer. Take this answer and go to the bank with it. This is what they say, whoever they are. But really, the kindness you can be to yourself is to start tapping into who you truly be, what you truly know, that is an honoring of you, your life, your living, and where you'd like to go in creating your life.
What challenges do you experience? So now living this way, what challenges have you experienced sticking to that mantra?
Well, the challenge isn't as much for me as it is for everyone
Yeah.
else. Because I actually choose to live this. This works for me. This is the way that I create my life, by living in the question. So I would say if the only challenge is to honor myself.
Yeah.
So honor my commitment to being in the question, to asking a question, to being present with something greater than ourselves.
Yeah.
And that was one of my discoveries as well. As I moved from heavy metal poisoning into learning about alternative ways of being in the world, one of the things I learned was the universe is far larger than what we have been taught, and it starts and exists from within you.
Mm-hmm.
So the willingness to tap in. Now, is it a challenge when I have conversations with somebody and they're like, wow, that's too woo-woo for me, Susan?
Yeah.
Right? That has nothing to do with me. That's not my world. And that's what I encourage people to do when I'm working with my clients, is understand that you see life through your lens. How is that working for you?
Yeah.
What shifts can you make in your life that actually align with that joy, that center that you have inside that creates greater for you.
Yeah.
And that creates a ripple, which creates a ripple, which creates a ripple. Now, the challenge is, are you willing to honor yourself every day by truly asking questions? Did what I just choose align with what brings me joy?
Yeah. That's the part. I love that you said, that question, are you willing to honor yourself? I love both of those questions. What else is possible? I've learned, being in the mental health field, I have learned that you truly have to be your own advocate. Like 1,000% have to be your own advocate, and definitely made sure to provide feedback and resources to, my patients, my clients, and provide them with direction and steps on what to do or what actions they need to take. Because, like, just for the mental health field alone, and I'm sure it's with every single field, but with mental health field alone, if you are not being your own advocate, there are definitely plenty of cracks that you might slip into, and it will be to your own demise, if you don't ask the right questions. So I love that. What else is possible? And then, are you willing to honor yourself? That is a huge question. Huge question, because we all want to say, well, yeah, of course, duh. Hell yes, we want to honor ourselves. And it's like, no, 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 no. Are you willing? Are you willing? Because that's different. Do you have that desire to honor yourself? Yeah, okay, yes. But it goes a lot. I love that you're saying, I love where your focus is, because you're saying, are
Yeah.
you willing? And so it's, are you willing to
'Cause
do
if
what's
you're
necessary?
Yeah, because here's the deal. It's a deal you make with yourself. If you're not actually willing, nothing else will shift and change.
Yeah.
Right? If you choose something that doesn't bring you joy, that doesn't align with who you be, with your values, and we're not, that's the challenge. Before you were asking me about challenge, I would say that's the biggest challenge, is to honor, sit down, get it out of your head, get it on paper. I'm a big proponent of journaling and writing it down. Is get it out of your head. What will bring you joy?
Yeah.
And then write it down, no matter how silly, no matter how crazy. And then pick the one that pops for you, that creates that energetic pop,
Yeah.
like that delight in you. And then ask yourself, am I willing to actually be and do and have this?
Yeah. Am I willing? And so,
Am I willing?
what things,
Yeah.
what things what things did you have to have in place to go ahead and make these things possible? Because, like, I'll give myself as an example. Am I willing to go ahead and make changes? Yes. Am I willing to do shit scared? 1,000%. Am I willing to put myself first? It's like, yes. And then I was just on a podcast episode with, she is this, she climbed Mount Everest, like all of these things, right? And she asked me, does your calendar match your values? Well, that's one of the things she asked herself. And I immediately asked myself, does my calendar match my values? And it's like, holy moly, it doesn't. And so, looking at my calendar, which is filled with meetings with colleagues, sessions, appointments with my clients, meetings with financial advisors, bookkeepers, I'm looking at my schedule, and it's like, holy moly, my calendar does not match my values. If you looked at my calendar, you would think, like, holy shit, she's totally a ride or die, entrepreneur. And that's what's important to her. When in reality, no, it's my kids, my family. And so you're asking, are you willing to honor yourself?
So here's where I would go with that. I would look at my calendar and I would say, which of these actually brings me joy?
Yeah.
Because we actually do what brings us joy. I mean, I use a simple example as, when you go to the bathroom, for the most part, you pee right in the toilet.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because are you willing to pee in the toilet? Yeah. And why? Well, that means I don't have to clean anything up. It means I can get in and out really quickly. I mean, it's as simple as that.
Yeah.
What are you doing in your life and living that is creating a congruency with what brings you joy?
Yeah.
Because we don't do what doesn't bring us joy.
Yeah.
And what I would encourage everyone listening here to do is to look at that list, go out 5 months from now. Where would you like to be with these things that bring you joy?
Mm-hmm.
So I'll give you a perfect example. In writing Breaking Free, I've been writing a book for about 5 years. And I was biking last year and I said to myself, okay, do you want to hear yourself say, I'm writing a book? Or do you want to hear yourself say by the end of 2023, I just published my book? So I made a commitment to myself. I said to myself, are you willing to actually put the time in and commit to creating this book by the end of 23? If you're not, that's okay. But let yourself off the hook.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that.
And so I found somebody that I would have as accountability buddy. We met every Tuesday. I found a publisher, an editor, and boom, here we are.
Done.
And there's something called constant spaced repetition. So if you honor what you're willing to do, you're not going to have that fear.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to have the trepidation. You're going to go, wow, I'm the kind of person that just honored myself, committed to what I was willing to do, and created it. Now, what else is possible?
I know looking for the right therapist can be challenging. However, feeling overwhelmed and disconnected is even harder. Life is filled with several twists and turns, some more severe than others. We do our best to handle them as they come and find ourselves at a loss, not knowing what to do or who to turn to. The clinicians here at Outside the Norm Counseling are here to help. We are here to assist you through this time of need. Together, we will identify your strengths and goals and teach you healthy coping skills. Together, we will develop a plan to help you live the life you want to live. Our team is compassionate, genuine, and we take a great deal of pride in providing an empathetic, non-judgmental approach to all of our clients. It's time! You've waited long enough, whether it be for you, your child, or if you're in need of a couple session. We are highly trained clinicians ready to guide you. Schedule an appointment now by calling 951-395-3288. Again, that number is 951-395-3288. We're looking forward to meeting you and being a part of your journey.
I love that. And I'm just going to be 1,000% vulnerable here. Like when I look at my calendar, and I love that you mentioned, we do what brings you joy. And that's 1,000% true. We do what brings you joy. And I will say with some guilt attached to it, work brings me a ton of joy. I do. I love what I do. I would do this for free. Don't get too crazy, but I love what I do. I take such a great amount of pride in what I do. I limit my schedule to where I'm able to go at, get off when my kids are off. But I love what I do. And I would do this like 24/7, as long as it wouldn't impact my time with my kids, which, I mean, that doesn't exist. But like, love what I do. And that's one of the biggest burdens for us entrepreneurs and women who are like, wait a minute, I could do this all day. I love the feeling I get when I'm learning or I'm in a business meeting. I had a meeting with my bookkeeper this morning, and it was like, we're planning goals for next year. I'm asking her really hard questions. She's giving me really hard answers. But I love that feeling. I love coming into my office, like this was a huge dream that I had. And it's like, it happened and it's happening. I'm in it now, and I can embrace family. I can embrace being a mom. I can embrace all of those things. And then we get to the calendar and it's like, oh, you never scheduled yourself a lunch. You never scheduled yourself time to pee, like all of those things. And so you mentioned, I'm looking at at your biography. You mentioned the liberation of saying no. Take us through that.
Well, yeah, thank you so much. Part of saying no is saying yes to you. And so I'll just give you a little story. There I was in my 20s, raising 4 kids, having traveled around the world, having gone to Philadelphia College of Art, having pursued all different kinds of artistic creations. I found myself at home with a partner who loved his business, loved his life, loved his sports, and I was like a summer sports widow.
Yeah.
And it didn't work for me.
Yeah.
And so rather than pushing that this doesn't work for me, no, onto him or the kids, I started asking, okay, so what is it that I truly desire? What would bring me joy? Well, I love to learn. So I started taking one night class that summer.
Yeah.
So I turned the no into what would work for me here. If this wasn't a no, it's your fault, what would I be choosing here?
Yeah. Yeah.
So when we turn the no, this actually doesn't work for me, into a yes, what would work for me? And it actually took me 10 years to get my undergrad degree.
Mhm.
And every semester I took 2 courses. And then if it was too much, raising the kids and just being in our life, I would drop one until after 10 years, I got my Bachelor's of Fine Arts. And then I went on to my Master's of Fine Arts, which led me into that professional painter and printmaker that I was. But it was all due to the fact of realizing this is your life. You have the right to say no
Yeah.
to what doesn't work for you. Don't push it onto somebody else.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Right? And so that really is the kernel to the word no. Who are you saying no to? For the most part, we say no to ourselves. Yeah. And I'm totally not an advocate of that. I would like to have that no, and then ask. I mean, there's a lot of clients that I work with where I have them look in the mirror and say, this doesn't work for me. Just practice it.
Yeah.
Right? Not you don't work for me, but this, whatever this is, doesn't work for me. And then what would you love?
Yeah.
What would you love? And so you haven't asked me, but I might ask you, what do you love about having a calendar?
Oh, what do I love? I love that you threw that on me. I love it. What do I love about having the calendar? Gosh, let me think about that for a minute. What do I love about having the calendar? I like that it's organized. I like that I'm just going to kind of process through this. I like that it's organized. I like that I like that it's not random. So when I look at it, I'm able to, I have a clear, I have a clear view of, like, I don't want to say what's expected of me, because it's not that. It's more of, I have a clear view of what is happening this week. Like, what does this week look like? However, there are times where I feel like I am a slave to my calendar. And so this is where I appreciate, because, you said I can say no, right? We have the power to say no, but I like that you said, ask yourself what would work for me. And I have to admit, there are times where I'm looking at the calendar, I'm like, well, shit, I'm in back-to-back meetings. I have my assistant that, my assistant comes up to me and she's like, Veronica, there are these people that are hounding me. They want to meet with you this week, but you're completely booked this week, and, I'm not sure where to put them. We were actually talking about it last night. My husband's like, you have to schedule a break for my wife. And she's like, I'm trying to work on it. And everybody's like, it should be so easy, and it's like, well, there's a lot there. And I want to make sure I'm off at a certain time because I want to be with my kids. And so it's like, with all of these things, just kind of by processing through this, and even, a lot of the things that you have personally shared, it's like, okay, well, wait a minute. Instead of feeling as if I'm constantly saying no to things, instead looking at it from a different mindset of what is working for me, because this is not working for me.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
The universe rewards joy and action.
Yeah.
And so we're not alone. You're not alone with you in this calendar. There's also the universe there as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really about pulling in that energy of joy, tapping into joy, and then asking, okay, what about this calendar works for me? And what about that it doesn't? Because everything is negotiable.
Yeah. Write this down, ladies. I'm writing it down. You write it down. Can you repeat that? You said, what about this calendar?
Works for me and what doesn't, because everything's negotiable.
Mm-hmm.
And realize as well, is this the life that brings you joy? If it's not, change it. It's not a dress rehearsal.
Yeah.
You know, do you want to see at the end of your life, somebody puts on your death stone, she really kept a great calendar.
Yeah. Yeah. Nobody cares about that.
Nobody cares about it. And you won't either.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's really about what will bring me joy.
Mm-hmm.
And ask, again, everything, we're jumping off on all these different subjects that all have to do with creating a life you love.
Yeah.
Willingness to say no, the willingness to step and look at the mirror and ask, okay, what about this works for me? What about my life works for me and what doesn't?
Mm-hmm.
And what can I shift and change here?
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that.
And so again, think of your calendar as a whole bunch of different sticky notes, moving them around. What did you start
these
with?
sticky notes?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I got tons, right?
All day. All day.
Yep. Because the thing is, when we're willing to be in the question, again, we're not alone. We haven't talked about that very much, but the awareness that we are not alone here,
Yeah.
and that there is a contribution from the universe
Mm-hmm.
that is here to assist us if we're willing to be with joy in the question.
Yes. Yes.
And again, if it doesn't work for you, what can I shift and change here?
Mm-hmm.
To actually create something greater? Because often what we begin with is not who we are now, and it's not who we are going to be. But with the resonance of joy is always there.
I love that. What can I shift and change to create something greater? Which circles back to what else is possible? What else is possible?
Definitely.
Oh, I love that. What else is possible?
Yeah.
And so I think for, like I said, there's a lot of demands. There's a lot of demands with being an entrepreneur. There's a lot of, especially when you have employees, there is a ton of demands, making sure that you have the right health plan, making sure that you have, a 401k that's lined up with the needs of your employees, making sure that you, have your PTO done and ready, make sure there's payroll, blah, 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 blah. And I think that there are times where it just completely limits us because it's like, well, I have to get this done. I have to get this and this and this done. And it's not that we're not going to get these things done. It's more of, okay, wait a minute, step back. What else is possible? What else is possible? Because when we get so narrowed in on the calendar, so narrowed in on like, this is the only way that we can do it. I have to, instead of pee, I have to, hold it for another 2 hours and not take a lunch or not, work out or whatever it is, instead of being so rigid, really asking that question.
And Veronica, there's a real key component here that I'm hearing, if you don't mind.
No, let's do it. I'm open.
It has to do with gratitude.
Mm-hmm.
So when we have that busy schedule, whatever that is, take a moment, like really take a moment, step back, take an aerial view of everything you're creating and be with it with appreciation and gratitude. It changes the energy of I have to, wow, how did I get so lucky? I have all these things to juggle.
Mm-hmm.
How did I get so lucky? I was a young mom with 4 kids and this amazing partner, and I had a university down the street that I could take night courses at.
Yeah.
How did I get so lucky? It's like, I am so grateful. If we're willing to include, I am so grateful for all of these choices.
Mm-hmm.
And which of these brings me the most amount of joy right now?
Mm.
When we step into gratitude, when we look at what we're creating and how we're creating, this doesn't work for me, doesn't come out of resentment. It doesn't come out of what that bleep am I going to do here? It comes out of, I'm so grateful I have this choice. What else is possible?
I never thought about that. I love
Like,
that.
what is this possible here? I'm so grateful for this calendar. Oh my gosh, it's so full. I wonder what else is possible here.
Yeah, for me, I've looked at the calendar and going, "Holy shit, it's full." I haven't looked at it as what else is possible. I've looked at it like, "Holy crap, this is filled." And in addition to that, if
Well,
I'm being completely honest, there's also this sense of pride, like, "Hell yeah, I'm getting things done," versus, and so I'm just gonna pack it more with things instead of, holy moly, like I literally started with an empty calendar, and I started with nobody knowing who I was and, you know, what I could
yeah,
do, right? And I love,
yeah,
love, love that shift of like, wow, wow.
yeah. And how does that feel inside?
Oh gosh, liberating. Like,
It's
oh, my
yummy.
heart's full. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Because your business is an entity unto its own and it loves to
Mm-hmm.
be appreciated, right? It doesn't want to be whacked on the head.
No, no. And it's been whacked
It
on the head
wants
a
to be
lot.
appreciated. It wants to be appreciated. And the more we offer appreciation and gratitude to everything we be and do, the more shows up for us in a way that offers us more choice, more possibilities. And we, as this living entity, have choice.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's where the willingness ties in.
Yes.
Are you willing to acknowledge you have choice?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What would you say is one thing, if you had to pick one thing from, let's say, all of your successes, what would you say is one thing that stands out the most for you?
The willingness to be in the question.
Mm,
That to me is as I say right now. I have a book coming out. I'm about to head into speaking
yeah.
tours. I have the Congruent Living Academy that I play with, the Congruent Life Method that I created from all of this buffet of tools, the self check assessment. I would say every day it's the willingness to be in the question. Like when I wake up and I'm funky, I am so grateful. I know that I can ask a question. What else is possible here?
Yeah.
Right? Who does that funkiness belong to?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I think that it's a challenge and it's a gratitude that we have this capacity to be in the question
Yeah.
of our lives and living. And I would say that to me gives me a vulnerability,
Yeah.
gives my clients a softness where they can land because there's always a question.
Yeah.
If it wasn't like this, what could it be like? Is a great question to ask.
Mm-hmm. I love that.
And so that's where when you ask me about the no is where are you saying no to you
Mm-hmm.
that you could be saying yes to
Yes.
that would create what you're truly asking for.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I love this. Where are you saying no to you? Where are you saying no
Yeah.
to you, girl?
Yeah.
How much time do we have? How much time?
That's why I love you. I love you, Veronica. That's why I love what I do.
Yes.
Right? I love working with clients. I love because people often come to me with one thing and it's what's underneath
Yep.
that. Do you love what you do? Oh no. I don't actually. Then why are you beating yourself over the head with
Yeah.
the to-do list
Mhm.
when you could actually be creating the joy list?
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
And you know what? Sorry,
no, yes,
just
please.
to add a little bit. For those of us who have children and
Mhm.
grandchildren and partners or not partners or new partners or old partners, if you are that energy of being in the question, of gratitude, of appreciation, it creates a ripple
Yeah.
in everything you be and do, which impacts all of those who come in contact with you, whether it's children, grandchildren, salespeople, clients, whatever that is. And you become the light, both LITE and LIGHT,
Mm-hmm.
that offers a different way of being in the world.
Yeah.
And that's who we be. That's what we came here to be and do, is to offer that light.
Mm-hmm. It increases
Yeah.
intentionality, right? We're truly
For sure.
intentional. Truly
Yeah.
intentional.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love this. You've given us so many golden nuggets.
Oh, thank you.
If you can speak to,
Yeah.
if you can speak, well, you know what? I'm going to give it to me because that's what's coming up for me, and I'm just going to go with it.
Okay.
So, if you could give me, like me personally, Sorry, ladies, I'm totally going to be greedy with her. I'll share her later. But if you can give me like one tool, one piece of feedback, or even a story that relates to maybe, my struggle, what would it be?
Well, my question would be for you is if this wasn't a struggle, what would it be? Because
Growth.
this reality,
I'm going to answer
this
it. Growth.
reality,
Growth. 1,000% growth, right?
right? And what do you love about growth?
Oh, everything. I even love that it hurts.
Does it turn you on?
Does
it turn you
hell
on?
yeah, girl. Hell yeah. I love it.
So this reality, especially in the way we position with, I'll say up until this last 10 seconds, because things could change when this gets on. Women have been positioned as it has to hurt. It has to be a struggle. It has to, you can't just say, I love my life. I love what I do. So we keep saying, oh, this is a struggle, or this is hard, or I can't do this. Well, what if none of that was yours to begin with?
Yeah.
Who would you be?
Yeah. Yeah. Love that.
That's my question for you.
Yeah. A student who is constantly learning, a student who is constantly growing, a student in love, right?
Yeah.
A student, I would say that's how I would answer that question. A student in love with that education, personal education, life education, like all of that. And that's the part that I love the most.
Yeah. And isn't that who you truly be?
Oh, I loved this. I loved this conversation, Susan. I feel like I could talk to you forever.
Thank you so much. I love it.
Right? So for those that are like, you know what, enough's enough. I got to work with Susan. How do we find you?
Well, for anyone looking for this amazing opportunity, and thank you, Veronica, for all of this heartfelt conversation that we kind of grew into. Go to www.susanlazarhart.com. That's my website. And go to susanselfcheck.com. What I did was I created, it's my gift to you. It's a self-assessment that you take by yourself. And it's so important for us to check in along the way. And so where am I in all of this? And the tool was designed to help you reflect on your current patterns and start a journey toward more intentional choice making. Again, susanselfcheck.com. And I love to have everybody join me on the Congruent Living Facebook. That's where we play every day. You can just come and join. We have all kinds of goodies and questions. I go live every Monday with Ask Susan. People ask me questions, and my doors are always open for questions. Awesome. That's kind of what I'm all about, to share stories. Because every time we share a story, as you so beautifully put, Veronica, we create an opening for somebody to say yes to their life. Yeah. So please, if you're listening, don't hesitate to reach out. I'm here to support you on this journey. And I can't wait to hear from everybody and the positive changes that just this podcast have created.
Yeah, I love that. And by the way, you guys, this is her first podcast ever. You did such an amazing job. Totally nailed it. Thank you. Absolutely. Absolutely. Definitely buy her book.
I'm honored.
The other thing.
You can buy my book at Amazon, Breaking Free, or Your Neath Path to Fearless Living.
Yay!
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And I know it's filled. I know it's filled with all of this information. We will have all of the links. We will have her social media page, everything, her website, we will have, and her book. We will have all of the links on our show notes. Susan, this was an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for being on.
It was my pleasure. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Raise your hand if you are ready to level up your marriage for 2023. Do you find that you're spending your time together with your husband checked out and in front of the TV? I know you're ready for tangible strategies that actually get you results. Reignite the spark in your marriage, have fun, and grow together. Well, I hope you have your hand raised at this minute because I have something special for you. I'm introducing my brand new 6-question marriage predictor quiz that's gonna give you personalized results to catapult you into the next stage of your marriage journey. That means you'll receive the results to where your marriage can get the best help. If you've got just 1 minute head to veronicacisneros.org/quiz. Again, that's veronicacisneros.org/quiz, and you could take my brand new quiz, Marriage Predictor. Get your results delivered right to your email address. Again, that's veronicacisneros.org/quiz, veronicacisneros.org/quiz. What's up, ladies? Just want to let you guys know that your ratings and reviews for this podcast are greatly appreciated. If you love this podcast, please go to iTunes right now, write a review, rate the episode, and subscribe. Don't forget to share it with your friends.
I know we've been taught that motherhood requires alcohol. I know we've been taught not to question our relationship with alcohol until we've lost everything. And I know we've been taught that if we do dare to examine our relationship with alcohol, we need to head straight to AA and declare ourselves an alcoholic who is powerless to alcohol forever. But what if all that isn't true? That's definitely not my story. I'm Suzanne, the host of the Sober Mom Life podcast. I'm an influencer who stopped drinking in January 2020, and since then, I've been telling the truth about motherhood, influencing, alcohol, and sobriety. If you suspect deep down that glass or 3 of wine at night might just be making motherhood harder, well, you're right. Come and join me as I chat with other sober and sober-curious moms. Let's laugh, cry, and normalize sobriety together, all while we reheat our coffee for the 4th time today.